that in politics, politicians don't be like, oh, well, if you look at the Book of Mormon, it's actually this crazy genocidal document. Like, Hillary's not going to do that. Barack Obama's not going to do that, because there's rules to the game. There's civility. It's not some kind of, all is fair in love and war sort of thing. It's a very structured, because there's these nuclear options, and you start going off on these tangents about Mormonism. And then you have to understand that there's so many FBI agents who are Mormon that if Hillary Clinton just goes on, or Barack, I keep confusing him, but if Barack goes on an all-out assault on Mormonism as a religion, he's going to be destroyed. Like, people think, oh, well, the Mormons are just some small thing, and he's the president. It's like, no, he's a dude playing a game. It's like if the CEO walks in and he's not wearing pants or something, he can be Me Too'd, or, there's no such thing as this invisible or invincible autocrat where he can just do and say whatever he wants. That's what people wanted with Trump. But I think what they saw is that doesn't exist, because he's like, I want to pull out the troops. And the generals are like, no, you don't have the authority to do that. And he's like, well, who does? And it's like, well, the bureaucracy. And he's like, well, tell the no, sorry, the bureaucracy has decided we're not doing that. And so it's the same thing with a presidential debate. It's the same thing with Mormonism. Like, you can't publicly criticize Mormonism. You can't publicly criticize a lot of religions, because you will be, you can be a comedian. You can be some kind of comedian where you lie. You're like, oh, Mormonism is so funny. But you're always critiquing it from a position of, it's ridiculous, in the same way that all religions are ridiculous, and you're just promoting atheism. Yeah. And Mormons actually don't really mind that, in the same way all religious groups don't mind the general promotion of atheism, because all that does is it weeds out people who were never serious about the religion, who are not invested in the religion, and it concentrates the commons of that religion. So if you make fun of Mormonism and you're like, well, it's kind of silly, then all that happens is the Mormons who were not invested weed themselves out of the community, and they no longer experience the benefits of that community. And the same for any other religion. So they don't mind when you have some comedian who's like, making fun of, like, the Book of Mormon musical. Like, they don't really care about that as much as if Barack Obama comes out and says, well, actually, Mormonism is a threat to our democracy. It's racist. It's all these things. Then you would have all of a sudden, like, pictures of Barack Obama coming out of him in compromising positions. You'd have all kinds of, like, dirty laundry, because, whether he would even be real or fake or photoshopped or whatever, when you have, a significant proportion of intelligence agencies populated by Mormons, and they feel that they're under attack, they feel like there's an existential threat, there's pretty much nothing that they would stop at to destroy someone that they felt was threatening them on that level. So that's why you're never going to hear that. You're going to, hear Sarah Silverman or Bill Burr or someone maybe make a joke about Mormons. I don't know. I'm sure people have made fun of Mormons. Yeah. There's YouTube videos where it's this documentary, probably produced by some evangelicals or Baptists or something, right, where they're like, Mormons believe in this, that, and the other, and it's like a cartoon, and it presents it in a way that's like, this is what Mormons actually believe, and it's obviously not a pro-Mormon cartoon. So there's anti-Mormon material out there, but you can also look at the way Scientology deals with these things as an example of, because the thing about Scientology is that it's not really as powerful as Mormonism or these other religions, but you can see the tactics and strategies that they use. You can see the way that they attack people, the way that they choose to attack people. They don't just uniformly go after, because they don't have the resources to take down everybody who criticizes Scientology, but they'll do targeted attacks. They'll choose the battlefield. They'll choose which battles they want to fight and which ones they're going to ignore. in terms of resources. So yeah, every religion sort of does that, and so there's certain periods where you can make fun of a religion in some contexts, but in other contexts you can't, or a political candidate would not be able to do that, because they're a fragile point of failure. When you have a single person and they upset a group of people, that group of people will then go out in all-out war on a single person. You have an individual versus group in a slander campaign, that then it's game over. Whereas if you have like random posters on the internet or comedians or something, nobody takes that seriously, and so there's not much you can do. That's why the jester archetype, the clown, is so powerful. Like the Jon Stewart, the Stephen Colbert, where they're like, I'm just a comedian and I'm just making fun of Republicans. There's not really any response that Republicans can come up with to that. Whereas if you had Jon Stewart was running for office and he's like, I'm running against a Republican in New York City or something, then the Republicans could dig up, offensive, racist, sexist jokes he made 10 years ago or something and be like, see, you're now a single point of failure. When you put forth something positive when you're running for office, then you become much more easy to attack, and thus there's better incentives for religious groups